Before I start this video, I need to say something. One of the most common questions, actually the most common question that came up when I put up this question box on my Instagram was, how'd you meet your wife? 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 I'm just going to tell you right off the bat that I'm not going to answer that question in this video, but I'm going to answer other ones. So if you're staying, make sure you're staying because you like my face and you want to hear the other things I have to say. We're not talking about that one today, but maybe another day, who knows? So let's get into the questions real quick. How old are you? I am 29 years old, was born in August 1995. I am currently 29 years old. I am going to be 30 soon. What is your greatest fear as a husband, as a content creator? Which one should I answer first? I think I'll answer as a content creator. As a content creator, one of my greatest fears is not knowing when it is time to move on. You know, I don't believe that people are supposed to remain in one career for all of their lives. Of course, some people do, and that's fine. But I do not believe that that's the case for me. So far, I have been in, I think, 3 careers in my working life, and I left uni 10 years ago. I believe that at some point I'm going to have to move on to other things. Even if I don't quit content creation, I would need to give my attention to other things. I would need to give my attention and pursue other things. And sometimes I'm afraid that, you know, what if I don't know when it's time to leave, and maybe content creation is just going so well that I don't even want to leave, but it is time for me to leave, and I end up not being relevant anymore and don't know. They say when you stop being hot, you're normally the last person to find out. That's my biggest fear. I never want to be relaxed, to not know that, okay, your time here is up, it's time to move on to something else. My greatest fear as a husband is losing my wife, to be very honest, to anything. I recently read this book and it made me cry because there's a part in the book where, if you've read it, you know what it's about. There's no spoilers really. He dies, but his wife in the epilogue talks about her experience with her husband in the days leading up to his death, and I read it and I was just crying because the only thing I could imagine was living without my wife. I can't even imagine it. She can't die. Like, if she dies, I will kill her. Next question. How was it when you first of all started content creation? It was a simpler time, and content creation was not much of a big thing as it is now. You know, if you told people back then I'm a content creator, they would ask, oh, that's cool. But what's your real job? So those were really simpler times. I wasn't looking to become a content creator. I didn't even know that that was a thing. I just had thoughts in my mind that I wanted to put out into the world, and I started doing that one day at a time. I challenged myself to post 30 videos in 30 days, and then my following went from 1,500 to 5,000 on Instagram within a month. I didn't even end up posting up to 30 videos. I think I posted like 21 because my account was just blowing up. So I posted only 21 and my account grew that much. So I realized, okay, there's something here, you know, let me double down, let me put more effort. If there's this thing I'm doing on the side and it's doing this well, what would that be like if I did it full time? If you would like to hear about my story and how I ended up as a full-time content creator, I'm happy to make another video about that. Next question. How have you managed imposter syndrome? That's an amazing question. I have a video where I talked about how imposter syndrome is a good thing. So I'm just going to plug it. It's going to be somewhere left or right. I don't know how this works, but the video is popping up right now. So definitely watch that video after now to see how I think about imposter syndrome and how I've helped myself manage it over time. I definitely do not think about it as something that can be solved or that you should try to solve. It's just a part of growth that will pop up over and over in different different stages of your journey. So if you're able to accept that reality, then you know how to manage it better. Your video camera quality on YouTube is top notch. What camera do you use? At the moment, iPhone 14 Pro. At different times, I have used different devices. At one point, I had someone who was shooting for me, so he would shoot with his camera, but right now, it's just my iPhone 14 Pro. How do I avoid oversharing in my content creation journey? Oversharing is a spectrum, right? For some people, there's things that they say and they feel like that's not oversharing, and then there's other people who see the same thing and they're like, the FBI will have to waterboard that information out of me. One thing I learned early on my journey from a friend of mine, Blessing, is she always says that, you know, decide what you will never share with the world, and then with everything else you can just go crazy. You knowing that the internet is permanent and whatever you put out there is very difficult to take back. Your digital footprint exists. What kind of jobs do you want to do in the future? Are these things stuff that can come up? Will it affect your employability in the future? Will it affect, do you want to be a politician one day? Those are all the things to consider when you think about the things that you want to put out on social media. Understand that it is permanent. So decide the parts of your life that you will always protect from the public, and then with everything else you can share. And there's an art to sharing without really sharing. You can present information to people, inconsequential information, in a way that pulls them into your story and shows them your life without telling them where you are every day. For example, I never never ever post where I am while I'm still there, just for security reasons. Also because people will be following you, people can actually track you down. I have been having lunch with a friend before and someone literally came to the restaurant to say hi to her because he saw her stories. This is a thing that happens. The world is not very safe with social media and everything. So you have a responsibility for your own security when it comes to social media. But with things that are inconsequential, you can definitely weave stories around them in a way that you make them seem even more interesting than they were when they happened, right? Everyone thinks their life is boring until you start to learn to make a story out of everything. Then you see how really interesting. Do you write scripts for your videos? Yes, I write scripts for my videos, especially short form content. All my short form content is scripted to the T. So if there's a part where I'm laughing or I'm making a face, all of that is scripted. But with YouTube, I'm trying to do less of that. So with some of my YouTube content, it is scripted to the T, but because it's longer form, it's quite stressful. So I also try to work with an outline where I sort of have an idea of everything I'm going to say, and then I, just run with that. On YouTube, there's more room for me to yap. There's more room for me to walk through my thoughts because people sit down with their plates to watch YouTube sometimes and they're ready for long form. But on TikTok and Instagram, where people are watching content on the go while they wait in line for their food and stuff like that, you sort of have to get to the point real quick. So even if the content is longer sometimes on Instagram and TikTok, I still script just because at the end of the video, when people finish watching, they need to not feel like you said in 5 minutes what you could have said in 1 minute. So I still script those ones. But with YouTube, I'm trying to be more free-flowing. Like, this video is obviously not scripted. I haven't even looked at these questions until this moment when I'm reading them. What is your dream job, or what would you love to spend your life doing? I do not dream of work. Dream and job in the same sentence, I believe, is an oxymoron. But I think I would definitely love to spend my life traveling and just telling travel stories. I feel like even if now I suddenly became a millionaire and I could travel anywhere, I would still tell travel stories, even if I didn't need the money. How do you bring your personality into a video and have natural conversations in front of a camera? That's a very good question. First of all, I do not think about it as, oh, I have this thing I want to communicate. How do I bring my personality into it? For the most part, I'm thinking about who is this video for? Who am I speaking to? And how do I let them see themselves in my story? So what is it I want to communicate with them? And how do I make sure that when they hear this thing I'm saying, it makes them think of themselves, not just me? So in order to do that, you need to study who your target audience is, right? And when we say target audience, it sounds very fancy or businessy, but it doesn't have to be. Ultimately, when someone asks you to decide what your target audience is, what they're saying is, ask yourself, who do I want to attract? Who do I want to talk to? It's like when you go to a party, you already know the people you want to hang around, right? So it's the same thing with social media. When you want to make content, you're asking yourself, who do I want to make this for? And how do I speak to them in a way that they want to listen to? What do they like to hear? That's what I am considering for the most part when I want to make videos. My personality is already there, right? I don't think I can hide my personality. So it's less about me trying to show my personality and me not doing anything to hide my personality, while also taking into consideration the people who I want to reach with my content. When was the point you knew this is exactly what I want to do in my life? I think that would be 2019. I did a class. Many people had been telling me to do a class and I didn't take them seriously because I'm like, what if I teach you what I know but you're unable to get the results I have? So I did a free class and I saw how well it worked out, and I just figured, you know what, I'm going to do a paid class. And then I did a paid class and over 100 people signed up in 2 days. I'm just like, oh wow. At the time, I still had a 9 to 5, I still had a job. So I was just asking myself, as I am doing my job and doing this on the side, I'm getting 100 people sign up. What would this be like if I give it all my attention? Because I really love teach. I love, my passion is just transferring knowledge. Anything I'm learning, I want to share with someone else. That's just the kind of person I've been all my life. But the point where I decided I should put more of my energies in this season of my life into content creation was 2019, after I did a class and 100 people signed up. And this was like, I just posted on my Instagram stories. I didn't even do a lot of publicity for it, no ads, no feed posts, nothing. And that many people signed up. So I'm like, oh, there's something here and I need to pay more attention to it. So that's all it was. And for all I know, in 2, 3, 5 years, I don't know, anytime, I might get another epiphany about something else and pursue that. When are we meeting our wife? Bring her to the channel, please. I want to hear love story. So I have a very serious problem with the concept of our wife. I know that in Nigeria and Africa, it's an everyday thing, but she's my wife. I'm very jealous about that thing. Like, I don't play that our wife shit. She's not our wife. She's my wife. When I was paying dowry, were you there? When I was dating, were you there? When I was kneeling down to propose, were you there? When I was going to meet her parents, were you there? How is she our wife? Anyway, I don't know when we're meeting our wife. She has stuff she's doing, so maybe, I don't know. I honestly don't know. I don't want to make any promises that I will not keep. Maybe she will come to the channel one day, but it will not be about love story. When we will share love story, I don't know, man. Maybe in a couple years, maybe after a couple children, then we'll share love story. But I'm sure you guys can tell that I'm very protective about certain parts of my personal life. It's like what I said earlier about how decide what you will never share with the world, and then with everything else just be, you can go crazy. So this is a part of my life that I'm very, as you can tell, very protective about. I don't know when we'll be sharing our love story. You guys are just going to have to manage me for now. Do you take alcohol? Me and my baby sis thought it would be amazing to see you on the NDANI TV show, but I can't see the rest of this question. But no, I don't drink. Yeah, I have thought about it a lot, actually. It would be really nice to be on the show, but I don't drink. And even if I did drink, I don't think I could drink on camera. Someone says, I feel like changing niches and just doing me, but it might affect my small audience. Not even 1,000 followers is discouraging. What is wrong? What should I do? So first of all, an audience of 1,000 is not small. I think social media tends to give us a very skewed perspective of what numbers really are. 1,000 is a lot of people. Imagine there were 1,000 people with you in the room where you are now, you know? So every time someone asks me, Salem, I want to grow my followers, I ask them how many, and they say, oh, only 500 or only 1,000. And then I ask them, tell me the names of 20 people in your community. Give me 20 people's names. And most times, they're unable to mention 20 people. Yet you're trying to grow your numbers, but you don't have a solid relationship with the people who are already there, and you're trying to get new people. So that's something you need to look into. Make sure that you genuinely care about the people you have. If you are not someone who's grateful for 1,000, how are you going to handle 10,000? How are you going to handle 100K? So think about it. Make sure that you understand what 1,000 is. 1,000 human beings, not just 1,000 as a number on your profile, all right? And then to your question about changing niches, please do not overthink niches, especially when you are at 1,000, right? So I've shown you the perspective of how 1,000 is a big number, but in the grand scheme of things, maybe it's a small number. If what you're aiming for is 10,000 and 100,000, 1,000 is a very, very small part of that. So if you want to change your niche, do it now. That's the beauty of obscurity. That's the beauty of being at a stage where a lot of people don't know you. You get to make your mistakes where not so many people are watching, right? So if you want to change your niche, change it. You don't even need to do announcements. Just wake up and start doing something different. Everybody will get with the program, okay? You have made 1,356 posts. Do you ever get scared to post? All the time, even this morning. I think at this point, at the time when you guys asked this question, it was 1,356, but now it's probably 1,400 something on Instagram. Yes, I get scared to post all the time. Sometimes I'm worried that I can't reply comments. Sometimes I'm worried that it won't do well. But one thing about me is tomorrow I'm going to make another one. So like whether it doesn't do well, tomorrow I'll wake up and I'll make another video. So that's the thing that keeps me going, that I'm not defined by any one video. Whether it is a viral video, I'm not defined by it. Whether it's a video that didn't do well, I'm not defined by it. What I'm defined by is what I will do tomorrow. And there's always tomorrow. That's the best part. I work for myself, and it feels weird not going to a job in the morning and coming in the evening. How do you do it? Oh my gosh, first time when I quit my job, it was crazy for me. Like, I couldn't motivate myself to do anything because I was working from home, and productivity in my mind was associated with leaving the house and going somewhere. So it was so difficult for me, I'll tell you, but you take it one day at a time, you create routines, you set targets for yourself. Like every day, these are 2-3 things I need to do. No negotiation. These are 2-3 things I must do every day. So one of the things I started doing for myself is taking a walk every morning, which was something that increased my gratitude and opened my eyes up to my privilege. So, for example, after I quit my day job, I could wake up on a Monday morning and take a walk. So that was a privilege. That was beautiful. I could wake up and take a walk and hear the birds sing and stuff like that. It made me appreciate my life more and improved my ability to be productive. Sometimes on those walks, I would be coming up with bright ideas because I'm like, oh wow, it's amazing that I get to do this. So I started to shift my mind from, okay, in order to be productive, I need to wake up and jumpstart and enter the road and go to an office, to I get to start the day in the way that I want. And the way that I chose was to take a walk every morning. While I was taking a walk, I would see people on their way to work, see people on their way to school, stuff like that. And it just made me appreciate my life more. And I think that influenced my productivity in some way. Yep. What would you prefer to not do if you had to plan your wedding again? What would you like to do better if you had to plan your wedding again? Definitely smaller wedding. For sure. That's very short answer. And myself and my wife think the same thing. Definitely 100% smaller wedding. Much smaller. But I mean, it was still the best day of our lives and we loved it very much. But if we had to go back and do it again, we'd just, yeah. How do you find passion in mundane things? I think that this is one of those things that has a lot to do with who you are as a person rather than the things in themselves, right? So if you're someone who is always trying to appreciate the things that people do not feel need an occasion, then you train your eye to be able to see. It's kind of like how, you see a building every day. You see the same building, the same plants, the same. But a photographer comes to that same building, takes a picture, and you look at it like, wow, is it the same place? Because they have an eye that sees what the average person is not seeing. And that eye, they didn't just fall from heaven like that. They actually trained that eye by forcing themselves to find the good in things that are ordinary. So that's something you can train. One of the easiest ways that you can do this for yourself is honestly to start taking pictures every day with your phone. Sounds crazy, but it will actually change your perspective on life. Waking up every day and sometimes just taking a walk and saying, I want to take pictures today while I'm taking my walk. I want to take pictures of mountains, of plants, of animals, of the road, of cars, of buildings. Over time, it trains your eyes. So at some point, you start to see it even when you're not looking. It's looking for you. Let me explain. It's kind of like if you have a friend who's a graphic designer, they almost always can't help themselves. They're always noticing billboards like, what's that typeface? Or if you have a friend who's a copywriter, like, that copy is amazing. That tagline, who came up with that? Or they'll be like, who came up with that rubbish tagline? That's trash. They're always noticing these things. They're not even having to try. It's just jumping at them. It's the same reason why people who are creative, who execute their creative ideas, they will never run out of creative ideas because you cannot use up creativity. The more you use, the more you have. So they get to a point where it is actually easier for them to come up with ideas than for them to be burnt out or without ideas, because it's now a question of how do I even execute these many ideas that come to me all the time. So that's the thing about exercising this muscle. It's a muscle that needs to be exercised. You're not just going to fall from the sky being able to find passion in mundane things, but you can train your eye and train your body to notice these things to a point where it actually comes to you. You seem like a really cool guy, and I just want to know how you do it. Being cool and knowing what to say, I don't know, I just be saying things. I think it helps that I've read a lot and I consume a lot of information through podcasts, videos, and I'm just generally curious person. I'm not answering the cool part because I don't know about that, but the part where you talked about knowing what to say, that's what I'm talking about. I do find myself in situations sometimes where someone will ask me a question and I don't know the answer. I'm so sure that I don't know the answer because that's such a difficult question, and there's so much context into their lives that they offer. I'm like, I don't know. But then I listen to them and then I start to talk, and somehow out of nowhere I say something, or I hear myself say something that is so valuable. And where did that come from? How did I find that answer? So I think that's something that comes from just consuming a lot of information. Sometimes it stays in your subconscious and just doesn't come up to the surface until it is needed, or a demand is placed on it by someone else who asks the question. And I'm constantly put in positions where people are asking stuff of me. So I'm able to exercise that muscle and figure out how to answer questions. I don't always know what to say, and I'm not ashamed to say I don't know. I really am secure with the amount of knowledge I have. I'm not satisfied, but I'm secure. So if someone ever asks me something and I don't know, I'm able to say I don't know. So I think all of that just contributes to the confidence I have answering questions and just knowing what to say or how to speak to certain situations per time. How does applying color in your hair feel? Want to try out? Heard it's painful. Yes, it's painful. The part where they bleach it, so they bleach your hair first to demelanate it. That part hurts, but then they put color. Of course, it depends. Sometimes they just only bleach it if you're going for like white or gold and stuff. This question and answer is so random. We're just talking about anything and everything. I like it, but yeah, it hurts. So prepare yourself. What's your biggest inspiration? I think my biggest inspiration is people, honestly. And I know that sounds like a very simplistic answer, but it's people. If people didn't need what I had to offer, then I would be useless. So I'm always inspired by the fact that need continues to exist in the world and that I have solutions, or I'm able to grow those solutions, or I'm able to improve myself to the point where I'm able to offer solutions. So as long as need continues to exist, and as long as I'm able to continue improving myself to offer solutions, that's inspiration to keep going. Do you wear only dark colored t-shirts and shirts? Yes. My wife is getting me to wear a little more color. She's not forcing me, she accepts me as I am, but I'm just getting inspired because she's very colorful and bright. So I'm introducing a little bit of that into my fashion. But yeah, before last year, I only owned black clothing. How has your view to content creation evolved? Seems you're way more relaxed now than before. I'm getting older. I'm 29 years old. The older you get, the fewer fucks you have to give. You just don't care as much anymore because nobody can beat me. You pay my bills, you pay my school fees, you grow my career. So you just care less the older you get. And then with experience, you sort of know how to bend the rules. When you've spent time keeping the rules, you know how to bend the rules. So for example, I've been a content creator for 5 years now. So there's ways in which I can operate my accounts that a beginner maybe can't because they're still figuring things out. But me, I've paid my dues, I've learned the rules, so I know how to bend them now to favor me depending on what I'm trying to do. I cannot really, like if you ask me what's my niche, I can't really tell you where I belong. That's stuff that sometimes when people are just starting, they feel like they need to belong somewhere. Me, I don't belong anywhere and I don't care, I'm fine. The people who need me, they find me. And I offer value that is undeniable, that is difficult to resist. So that track record over the years has just brought me to a point where I'm confident, and because I'm confident, I'm relaxed. I think another thing too that plays into how relaxed I am is I'm able to say no. There was a time in my life where, in my career, where I was taking every opportunity I could get. I wasn't saying no, I was just saying yes to everything because, how I could do. Every speaking gig I was saying yes, every influencer partnership I was saying yes. But now I'm saying no actually more than I'm saying yes because there's only one of me to go around. So I'm only working with the people with whom my values align well, and the partnerships are beneficial on both sides. They pay me what I want and all. So now when I was mostly negotiating from a place of like hunger, I say, oh, my price is 10 naira, and somebody says it's only 4 naira we have, take it or leave it. I'm just like, bring it, because how I go do now? I have to eat. But now I don't have to do that anymore. To be honest, now, even when I'm broke, to be honest, I'm still just more confident. I am still able to say no because I know my value. And my confidence in my value has come from my track record, basically. Do you sometimes wish you had a 9-to-5 job? Are you content with what you do? No, I do not wish I had a 9 to 5 job. Like, I would hate it. I would hate having to wake up on Monday and go somewhere, because a lot of times on the weekends I'm working, right? I'm speaking at an event, or I'm running a training. And so Mondays need to be lazy days for me. If I had a 9 to 5, I would have to do all of that on the weekend and then report to work on Monday. I'd hate myself. So no, I do not wish I had a 9 to 5. I'm content with what I do, yes. I'm not satisfied. I always feel like I'm not doing enough and I need to do more, and I'm always planning to do more, but I'm also secure and content. How did you start being a content creator? Did you wait till you had all the necessary equipment to begin? No, I didn't wait till I had all the necessary equipment to begin. I actually did not have... I'm tired of sitting down. Let's do this video somewhere else. If you wait till you have all the necessary equipment, you cheat yourself, to be very honest. And I always tell people, like, if you feel like there's something you need, that if you don't get it, you cannot start. Even when you get it, to be very honest, you still will not start. So whatever you think you need, just use what you have. Start with what you have and what you have access to. What that means is, even if what you have is not enough, borrow from your friend, borrow from somebody that you know that can help you. Do you get? Borrow from those people, borrow your friend's phone. When I first started, most of my videos were in black and white for like the first 4 years. But how it started, I was actually, I don't always tell people this, but I was actually using a Samsung Galaxy A something, A5, I think, like a mid-range, low-range Samsung phone. And I learned how to edit on YouTube, but I would edit on my phone and I didn't like the quality that I was seeing on my phone. So I had a bright idea to like just desaturate the video to reduce saturation to 0 so it would hide the flaws and everything, and it worked for a while. And when I finally got enough money, I saved for like 10 months to get my first iPhone. Sorry to everybody, you know, economy is terrible now, but like I saved for 7 months. I think it was like 100 and something K used iPhone 7 Plus. And then when I started making videos with my iPhone, it was better quality, but the black and white had just stopped. I became the black and white guy. So yeah. How did you know what you wanted to do when you were younger and grow in it? I did not know what I wanted to do when I was younger. I think the only thing I knew when I was younger was that I wanted to be a teacher. I didn't know what kind of teacher I was going to be. I didn't know if I was going to be a motivational speaker or a lecturer or a school teacher. I just knew that I had a passion for transferring knowledge, and it materialized in different ways. We taught teenagers in school, in church, I taught in my university fellowship. I had different opportunities to teach and I would always take them, but I didn't know content was going to be a thing. I had no idea, to be honest. What was your first breakthrough in content creating? Did you have to wait for long? I really like this question because I never had a breakthrough. Every time I'm taking an interview or something and someone asks, Salem, when was the piece of content that like blew up? I don't have any piece of content that blew up and blew. It was a very steady, slow process. Even now, I don't think about myself as blown, to be very honest. I think I had been making content for like 4 years. The first time I got a video that had 1 million views. Virality was not my path to growth at all. That just didn't work out for me. I would have loved it, but that wasn't my journey. You know, so when I tell people don't wait till you blow, that's not something I'm just pulling out of my ass. I'm actually speaking from experience. Like, do what you need to do. Don't wait till you blow. Make another one tomorrow. Keep going. How did you have the courage to marry a pastor's daughter? That's a very interesting question. Well, my parents are pastors. My dad is a pastor. My dad was a pastor before I was born. So that's the family I grew up in. And even if they were not pastors, the good thing about my family, the family I grew up in, was my parents weren't just nominal Christians. They were Christians that I watched live for God, like in real life. I saw their walk with God real time. It wasn't just Sunday in church and lifting hands. I saw how they regarded God in the day-to-day of their lives, in the day-to-day of their decisions, in their career decisions, decisions for us, in which school we would go to, in, you know, family members, prayers, through tough times, through happy times, through Thanksgiving. All those things were stuff that I grew up around, so I didn't find it intimidating. I think the only reason why any Christian would be weirded out by going to meet someone's parents because they are pastors, because you're up to no good in your own life, you know. So for me, it wasn't scary at all. Maybe there's a part of me that always knew I was going to marry someone who came from a home like mine, where God was the priority, and not just in a nominal way, not just in a we're Christians way, but in a we follow Jesus day to day type of way. Do you get? It's sad that a lot of the families that are like that is because somebody's a pastor, because as a Christian, you should not have to be a pastor to be like that. That's how your life should be. Jesus is the center of your life and everything else is secondary, or everything flows from there. So if every Christian had the kind of life where, I also don't like the fact that, like, as a Christian, when you're somewhere and you suggest something like, oh, let's pray, or you quote a Bible verse, then everybody goes, pastor. I'm like, nah, that's what the average Christian is supposed to be like, But that's not the subject of this video. At what age did you start content creation? I was 22, 23, I think. Yeah, 22, 23 when I first started. Actually, no. I was 2021 when I started making videos. But when I started being consistent, I think I was 22, 23. I tried a business that got stuck. Would you advise to try another job or keep working this one? Try another one now. Of course, I don't have enough context to give you a good answer because I don't know your life and where you're at. But if you've gotten stuck and you've given up and you've closed, try again. Try something else. Do something else. Life is not linear, right? Like if you try to do a business and it doesn't work, and the next step you need to take is to take a job, take the job. The next step you need to do is do another business. Do another business. The next step you need to take is take a pay cut or move back into your parents' house. Whatever you need to do, just do it and move on. How have you stayed diligent in creating content? I don't know. It pays. It pays and I love it. So I think that combination, I don't see any reason why I would stop. People ask me every now and then, like, have you ever felt like giving up? I'm like, no, I haven't felt like giving up. And I swear, like, I'm not even trying to be any type of way. Like, I wish, most of those times, I wish I could tell them, oh, I have felt like giving up, this is how but I swear I've not felt like giving up. It's like, what would I go and do? Like, if I give up, what would I do? Do I go and work in Access Bank? I've not felt like giving up. What would you say you regret most about content creation? I think it would be not giving more attention to YouTube. I wish I had given more attention to my YouTube, not abandon Instagram, but even if the cost was to abandon Instagram, I wish I gave more attention to my YouTube. But I did more Instagram, and then my Instagram took off, and that didn't allow me to be able to give space to YouTube. Like, one of the reasons why my YouTube has been so inactive is because of all the results of my Instagram success, right? So all the things I'm working on, all the events I'm speaking at, all the trainings I'm holding, all those things take up so much of my time that I'm unable to give more to my YouTube, So I wish at the time when I had nothing on my plate and I had so much time on my hands, I wish I had dedicated all of that, all my energy at that time to YouTube, because now it's really difficult and YouTube requires a lot of attention, it's demanding, and it just feels like I don't have, like I'm unable to give it what it requires at this time in my life. So it's really tough. So I wish at that time, when I was still young, dumb, and broke, I should have given more attention to YouTube. How do you store your pics or clips that your phone doesn't get full? I have a 1 terabyte phone and I have 2 terabytes on the cloud. It might get full like next year, but for now I'm good. Although I've struggled though, let me not now make it. This is the first time I'm using a 1 terabyte phone, and I only got it in January. Yeah, I only got it in January. But before then, I'd used like a 256 gig phone, I'd used 64 gig, all those ones, and it was always like I was always deleting stuff, and I didn't like that I was doing that. Well, sometimes I would upload them to like Google Photos, but yeah, it was a bit of a struggle. But I strongly believe that a low storage phone can force you to be more consistent, right? Because you will not be hoarding stuff. So once something comes out, post it. Once you make a video, post it. Don't be hoarding. Let it go. So your archive can be on Instagram. It's sad that you might have to delete stuff, but it is what it is. What can I do to get better intellectually and socially? Is to read. I wish there was a shortcut, but honestly, it's just to read. If you read more, your vocabulary will expand. You'll be able to have conversations with a wider array of people. The more experiences you have, the more places you go, it just expands the range of conversations that you're able to have socially. Do you get? And then socially, I would say try to connect with people you genuinely like. So there's this whole idea that you have to meet someone who is able to help you in your career, connect with people because of what they can do for you. You don't want to do that. You want to connect with people that you genuinely like. Those people, they may be able to help you or not, but at least you'll be happy and enjoy speaking to them, right? So those are 2 things I think will help. But to grow intellectually, there's no other way. You have to consume information. If reading is tough for you, listen to podcasts, watch YouTube videos. audiobooks, all that stuff. Do it every day as much as you can. How did your first paid content gig happen, and what's the difference between then and now? My first paid content gig was actually a friend of mine, Kuyet, very lovely guy. Don't tell him I said that. But yeah, Kuyet gave me my first gig. It was for a wristwatch brand. He just hit me up and said, you know, he's working on a campaign for a wristwatch brand and he wants me to be one of the models. Blew my mind because I'm just like, model from where to where? But you know, we got outfit, we wore the wristwatch, and then when we started working on the campaign, they said they wanted a script for the video. I'm like, that's fine, I can write a script. So I wrote a script for the video, and then when we had done production, they said they needed a voiceover. I'm like, that's fine, I'll do the voiceover. So I did a voiceover for the video also, and that, it was just an amazing, I don't say how much I got, but it was just a great experience, and I'm glad that it came from a friend. I had one deal that was supposed to work before then, but it just didn't work out. I can't remember exactly why. I think they were going to give me 20K and they wanted like 5 different deliverables. So someone I look up to said, reject that. So that didn't work out, but Kuyet came through, and that was a very amazing experience. Now I run a proper business, so collaborations with me are not as straightforward. It's also great, but because there's so much I put in place, right? For example, the way it goes is they reach out to me via email, and then I ask them to send a brief. When they send a brief, I make sure that, okay, this is aligned with my values, this is aligned with what my community will need, and I make sure that I'm able to offer them value. You know, I've had brands reach out to me before, and I just told them, I don't think this is something that is valuable to my community. Great product, everything, but I don't think your target audience is in my community, so we can't work together. Which is kind of stupid because, like, you're saying no to money, but I like to know that the brands I work with will get value, right? That's normally the process. After I make sure that, you know, this is we're a good fit, then I send them an invoice, they pay, I send a script across, or run my creative direction by them. Once they approve, then I make a video, then I post. After that, then I send them a report, you know, like that. So it's more, now it's become like super businessy, different from before when someone would just say, oh, how much? And I say this, and then send account number. But now I run a proper business, so I prefer not to be random about it. What's your advice for a multifaceted creator, someone who has multiple interests? I'm going to say you should allow yourself to be known for one thing. It's okay if everybody knows you for one thing while you are pursuing several different interests. It's okay. Like there's nothing wrong with being the person who everybody knows for one thing, but you're more than one thing, right? For example, people know me as a content creator, but if you've heard me speak, you know that there's more to me than just a content. Not that there's anything wrong with being just a content creator, but you can tell that I have other interests. There's other things that I spend my time consuming that are very different from the world of content and social media. So I would say allow yourself to diversify behind the scenes, but to specialize publicly, because people like to know that this is what I know this person for. And the good thing is, once you become good at one thing, people are more likely to trust you with other things, right? So it's okay for people to know you for one thing, and then over time you show them the different sides of yourself. But if you start an Instagram page and you play saxophone and you also do art, you know, but you're also a nurse, and you post content about all those things at the same time, it's going to be very confusing for your audience, especially if you're just starting. So it's okay for them to know you as one thing, and then over time you start to show them the different sides of yourself. There's nothing wrong with that, okay? Do you love to read? No. If yes, book recommendations? No, so no book recommendation. I don't like to read, but I read a lot, which is crazy because I like what it does for me. I like what it does for my mind. So yeah, I read a lot. Book recommendations, I don't think this video I don't think we have enough time for that. If you would like another video with me talking about book recommendations, you know, let me know in the comments so I can talk about the books I've read this year and just go into detail so you know if it's for you or if it's not for you. Let me know, share in the comments. Do you think the effort that goes into building a community is downplayed? I think people do wrongly think about social media only within the terms of the number of their followers, and they only think about their audience, but they don't think about community. And that's something I'm grateful to have had the privilege of experiencing with the growth of my own audience that became a community. I even wrote a book about it. Like, I got so obsessed with the process of building a community that I wrote an ebook about it. Check the description if you want to check it out. Window shopping is free. I also made a course, so you should definitely check that out. Building a community you know, now it's become like a buzzword, like a marketing buzzword. Like you just have to have a community, but it's way beyond that. It's a whole lot of work, but it's not rocket science, and anybody can learn, and you can learn from me. So get my course. I want to start a YouTube channel for the fun of it, but I'm scared because I feel like I'll flop. What do I do? You say you want to start it for the fun of it. What if the real reason you want to start is for the fun of it? Why are you scared that it will flop? Can you see that you're not being honest with yourself? Do the YouTube channel for the fun of it. If it flops because you still have fun. Do you get? And you know what's amazing? You can actually do well. So if it does well, you had fun and you did well at the same time. So if you're going to do it for the fun of it, just do it for the fun of it. Forget about whether it will flop or it will not flop. The mark of success is, did you have fun or did you not have fun? Simple. How can a person find a worthy, God-fearing partner in this horrible, loveless generation? First of all, why am I the person you're asking this question? Secondly, if you feel like this is a horrible, loveless generation, then how are you going to find a worthy, God-loving partner? Because you don't even believe that they exist. Do you get? So what the question you're asking is like somebody coming to say, how do I find a dinosaur in a world where dinosaurs are extinct? You don't. So because you believe that this is a loveless generation, which I don't believe it is a loveless generation, because people are meeting amazing people all the time. Me, I met my wife in Lagos. People always say there's no love in Lagos. That's where I met my wife. And in a very short time, I knew that I wanted to marry her, right? So I think you need to also address your mindsets. If you believe that this is a loveless generation and there's nothing and the dating pool is dirty, I don't think it's possible for you to find love, because you're going to go in there expecting that this is how it's going to be. And when anybody hurts you, you're going to say, I said it, I called it, I took him, this is a rubbish generation and I'm the only good one remaining. But if you feel like you're the only good one remaining, it means there's other good people too, right? So please, check your mindsets. Check how you're thinking about all of this. I can't believe I just gave relationship advice. How do I deal with me discovering that I might not like someone, but like the attention they give me? Hit me like a truck because they're a good person. I'm just going to round up this question and answer here. Is getting to we're not going to go there, all right? See you next time. Goodbye.